Come on, let's go to work. That's it, Ellie. Shake it off. Let's go. Come on. Got to get to work. We got to sell those postcards. You ready, Lucy? Yeah? Okay. Ready, Ellie? Okay. Let's go in the office. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Mark Clemens Postcards. It's time again to take a look at what has sold for the past week, and I also want to take a look at some more postcards from my personal collection. Here behind me, you see my staff, Ellie and Lucy, getting a well-deserved rest after another long, hard week of selling postcards. But I often get asked by people, how did Ellie and Lucy get involved in postcards? Well, today I'm going to answer how Lucy came to be where she is today. One day when Lucy was about 2 months old, I asked her, Lucy, what do you want to do when you grow up?
I want to be a deltiologist.
Well, I thought that was a cute answer, but I really didn't think much more about it. But then just recently, I thought, you know what, I'm going to ask her again. So I said, Lucy, now that you're a little bit older, what do you want to do when you grow up?
I already told you I want to be a deltiologist because I love postcards.
Well, that's very interesting, I said to her. But do you know what a deltiologist does?
Deltiology, derived from the Greek word for a writing tablet, is the collection and study of postcards. It's actually the third most common hobby in existence, behind collecting money and stamps.
Okay, well, I can see you've been thinking about this pretty hard. But do you know how to spell deltiologist?
Deltiologist.
Wow. You're in. So, ever since that day, Ellie and Lucy have been right here beside me in the office every day. But now let's get into our weekly What Sold video, and I'm going to make a small adjustment here. Up to this point, I've been including my sales from Monday through Sunday, but since I record this video on Sunday, I've been missing a portion of my Sunday sales. So I'm going to make an adjustment and run from Sunday through Saturday. That way we won't be missing any of the activity for the week. Okay, now that you've been brought up to speed on Lucy's career path, I think it's time to take a look at the sales for the week. And looking at the report here, you can see we had a total of $531.19 for the week. That was 97 items sold. The average sale price was $5.48. So again, about an average week for me. Sometimes it does a little better. Sometimes it does a little worse. But overall, an average week. Let's take a look at some of the items that made up this number. Obviously, I'm not going to show you all 97 items, but we'll look at a few of the more interesting ones and try to give you a variety of what sold for the week. First up here, we have the First National Bank in McConnellsville, Ohio. A nice chrome card. You can see it's postally unused. That sold for $5.95. Here we have the Poplar Street Bridge over the P&E Railroad Yards in Kane, Pennsylvania. This is an undivided back era card. Don't see, yeah, there it is. It looks like it was posted in 1912. And this card was listed for $7.95. I took an offer of $6.36. Next up, a view in the Catskill Mountains. This is looking up Pine Hill, showing the village. I'm not sure what village that is, but there you see it. This is an undivided back error card, postally used 1909. That sold for $7.95. Here we have a view at Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts. This is the Gay Head Cliffs Lighthouse over here, and this is the shoreline. Another undivided back error card. It's not postally used, and that sold for $5.95. Next up, we have a town that doesn't sell real well for me, St. Augustine, Florida. There's really a large multitude of cards from this area, and being a tourist area, the cards are very plentiful and they don't do well generally. But this is a real photo of the oldest house in the United States. Azo stamp box, early 1900s. I can see an old car in the view. That sold for $4.95. Next up, we have a lot. I've mentioned these before. I do sell lots of cards. This is a lot of 100 random mix of cards, U.S. state views, some topical cards, could even be some greeting cards mixed in there. This picture is not the actual lot that the buyer will receive, but it's just meant to be representative of the type of cards that you would get. And that lot sold for $29.95 for 100 cards. Next, here's a colorful card. Greetings from Sea Isle City in New Jersey. A beach or a shore town card. A linen era, postally used in 1955. Multi-view, lots of things to see there in the views. And that card was listed for $5.95. I believe it took an offer of $5 for that. Here's an interesting card. This is from the Hotel Casablanca in Ontario, California. It is a trifold card. Here you see a view of the hotel itself. And then here is some descriptive writing here about some of the things that you can do there. You see golfing, looks like tennis, horseback riding. Looking at the other side, you can see some more views, some interior views here of the hotel. And this card sold for $12.95. Here we have the Blue Meadows Vacation Colony in Nowak, Connecticut. This looks to be a white border linen era card. It's posted in 1948. Could be a holdover from the white border. Could have also been published in the linen era. Not 100% sure. But this card was listed for $5.95 and again took an offer of $5. Moving on to Johnsonburg, Pennsylvania. Here we see a picture of the high school. High schools sell very well because obviously the vast majority of people have gone to high school, and many times they find a school that they attended when they were younger, or even a school that their parents or grandparents attended. This is a white border era card, unused, sold for $5.95. Here we have a view of the attack on Fort Sumter. This is a painting by an artist named Huddy. This is a Civil War scene, and obviously this isn't wasn't produced in the Civil War era. Postcards were not uh, around at that time, but this is a Chrome era card with a version of or a scene from that battle on here. I do find that Civil War battle scenes like this do sell well. I've sold a good number of them of different battles from the Civil War. This one sold for $4.95. Here we have the gymnasium at the Veterans Administration Hospital in McKinney, Texas. A Lennon era card. It's postally used 1949 and it sold for $4.95. Next up, a view at Bemis Point on Chautauqua Lake, New York. Here you see the casino and the bathing beach. Lots of activity there, lots of swimmers, people in canoes. Again, Linen Era, postally unused, nice clean card. Sold for $5.95. Here we have an old steamship. This is the excursion boat Columbia leaving Burlington, Iowa. This is an undivided back, postally used 1906. Publisher here is Rotograph, a popular publisher with collectors. And here you see the ship underway. This was listed for $7.95. I believe I took an offer on this for $7. Next up, this is a view on Main Street in Hancock, New York. This is a nice view with the old automobiles. You can see some storefronts here. Now this car does have a heavy crease. It's easily visible here across the upper portion, and you can see it on the back scan as well. Still a nice view though. This card was listed for $9.95, and I believe I accepted an offer of $5 because of that heavy crease. Here we have the Chief Illini Motel in Urbana, Illinois. Roadside things like this, restaurants, motels, and the like, are very popular. Chrome era card. It's not been posted, but you can see some old automobiles in the parking lot there. What looks to be an interesting neon sign up here with an Indian on it shooting arrows. And this card was listed and sold for $5.95. Next, we have a scene on the Pasquatank, I hope I pronounced that right, River, Elizabeth City, North Carolina. This Raphael Tuck publisher on this card is divided back era, mailed in 1909, and it's a little beat up around the rough around the edges, and looks like it has some soiling on it. But this postcard was listed for $7.95, and I believe I took an offer on that of $5, taking into consideration the condition there. Here is Smokey Bear, only you can prevent forest fires. This is the Continental era postcard, 6 inches by 4 inches. I had 5 of these. 2 of these have sold now. This is the second of that. And it's a colorful view, more modern card, but listed for $4.95. I believe I took an offer for $3. Next, we have Mount Helena, viewed from the high school in Helena, Montana. This is a divided back, and as it says here on the back, this is very old. This is a divided back card. It's postally unused. It sold for $5.95. Here's an interesting card. This is a steamship. Don't know what steamship. It doesn't name it on here, but it is a steamship. It is a heavily embossed card with airbrushing and glitter applied. Normally, cards with glitter don't sell real well, but I thought this was a good topic, being a steamship. I thought the heavy embossing and the airbrushing was interesting, so I went ahead and put it on there, and it did sell for $4.95. It is marked on the back with the writing. It doesn't look like it was actually postally used, but it was going to be mailed, and the message is from 1909. So you can see that's a divided back era card. Uh, Sold for $4.95. Up next, we have a view of the Navy Yard in Brooklyn, New York. You can see some ships here. And this is an undivided back card, not postally used. It was listed originally, ships, especially military ships, pretty popular. It was listed for $5.95, took an offer of $5. Next up, we have a view of the Loyalhanna Creek in Latrobe, PA. Also, you have some train tracks along here. This scene is actually in an area known as Sleepy Hollow. These train tracks have been replaced by a roadway, and there's a roadway on each side of the creek, one way in both directions now. And this card, let's see, this is undivided back, not postally used, and it sold for $7.95. Next up, another ship, another military ship. This is the USS Battleship Arizona in rough seas. As you can see, judging from the back, I would say this is probably a late Lynn and early Chrome era card. It's unused, and it listed and sold for $7.95. Next up, we have the Grunwald Hotel, an interior view. This is the Forest Grill. This is in New Orleans, Louisiana. This is a Detroit publishing, so these are always a little difficult for me to date precisely unless they're postmarked, because they often have white borders, yet they could be still a divided back era card. So I'm going to go with divided back on this. It's unused. An interesting interior view of a restaurant, and that sold for $5.95. Here we have another interesting view. This is block number 11 in the Michigan State Prison in Jackson, Michigan. You can see we have four levels of cells there, and the long rows down each side. Interesting view, you don't see that often. White border era card, unused, sold for $5.95. Okay, next up we have a view along the North Shore at Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Here you see a gentleman in a canoe over here, either getting ready to go out in the water or just returned to the shore, don't know. Undivided back, unused, very clean card, sold for $7.95. And I believe this is the last one I'm going to show you today. This is the results from Vic Quality Seeds. This is in Rochester, New York. James Vick's Sons Obviously, they make these vegetable seeds, and here's what you can expect when you use their seeds. You got a pretty bountiful harvest of various vegetables here. And this is an advertising card, as you can see on the back. Here's some language encouraging you to buy these seeds. This card was listed and sold for $5.95. And I think, well, we don't need that. No malware found, so that's good. And there's my staff, still resting up from the week. So that's pretty much it for what sold over the past week. Hope you enjoyed looking at those. I do want to mention in last week's video, I showed you, or a video from about a week ago, I showed you a large quantity of postcards that a dealer had brought to me to look through to see if I wanted to purchase any of those. So I have yet to conclude that transaction with the dealer, but when I do, I will definitely get back to you with what I purchased and show you some of that. But now we're going to move on to some cards from my personal collection, and I hope you will enjoy looking at those. Okay, as per usual, I want to take a few minutes to show you some cards from my personal collection. Up to this point, I have shown you some cards from my hometown of Greensburg, PA, which is one topic that I collect. Last week, I showed you some cards from the Lincoln Highway, which is the second topic that I collect. And this week, I want to show you some cards from a third topic that I like to collect, which is restaurants. Um, I think probably the reason I like restaurants so much is I like to eat so much. But I find these cards to be very colorful, and they just uh, evoke an atmosphere of a time in America that unfortunately has ceased to exist. But I love the views. They tend to be very colorful. A lot of them will be linen era cards, although there are cards to be found in all eras. Linen seems to be the most attractive to me, and also chrome era cards can be very nice as well. But so I'm going to show you a few examples of that from my collection. And what I thought I would do as time goes on is rotate these topics rather than just do one week after week. I would rotate through them. I have several binders of cards for each of these categories, so there's quite a lot of material we could look at. But I just thought I would rotate my way through them and try to keep it interesting for you. So let's go here. The first one, as you can see here, is a diner. This is the Fernwood Diner in East Lansdowne, PA. Diners are sort of the cream of the crop as far as the restaurant category goes. They are highly collectible and often can be pretty pricey. Here you see the diner. Here's some old cars here, and as you notice, it's a rather colorful card. Next, we have a black and white photo. Now, this is not a real photo, but a photo. This is the Virginia Diner in Wakefield, Virginia. Here you see the old cars parked out front, and they even have some gas pumps here. They have Texaco gas pumps, so you can not only fill up your car, you can fill up your stomach as well. And that's what I call a full service facility there. Next, another diner. This is Lemoyne Diner in Lemoyne, Pennsylvania. Again, classic looking diner. Um, Neon sign up here, neon clock in the front. Those seem to be pretty typical on diners. And again, a very colorful, attractive looking card. Here we have the Peter Pan Diner. Now, this card is a chrome, although it has the look of a linen, and it probably was originally published as a linen. This is the chrome version of it. Again, colorful. See the old cars parked out front. Interesting signage. This card, or this diner, I'm sorry, is in Newcastle, Delaware. It is also the home of the B29 burger, so that would be worth stopping for, I'm sure. Here we have a diner interior. This is the Chief Diner in Durango, Colorado. I also have some exterior views of this diner, but I picked this one to show you the interior. Um, Colorful again, colorful decor. Here we have stools and a counter, just like you would see in most diners, and then tables lined up against the other wall. And it has that kind of Indian theme. This is the Gus Schwab's Chat and Chew restaurant in Denver, Colorado. Again, we have the old cars, looks like 40 era cars outside. A lot of color in that view. Here is Bill's Barbecue House. This is in Sanford, North Carolina. This is a multi-view card. We have a nice exterior view there with a big sign, no doubt was a neon sign up here, and an interior view showing some booths and the counter. Next is Reader's Creamery in Calistoga, California. Although it says creamery, also we have a sign up here besides the ice cream cone they're showing. It also says food. So I'm sure you can go, and it says coffee shop above the door. So I'm sure you can go in here and have a nice meal and top it off with some ice cream. Next is Woodward's House Grill, and lots to read on the exterior of the building. Steak dinners, chicken, ham dinners, food fit for a king. And here's the sign also listing some things: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And this card, I believe, is the location of this restaurant was north of Richmond, Virginia. Next, we have Sauser's Little Waffle Shop that was in Dyer, Indiana. Again, a linen era card, pretty colorful. I also have some chrome era views of this waffle shop with some old cars parked out front. Here we have the Lobster House in Jacksonville, Florida. Again, a multi-view card. A nice view here of the dining room. There's an exterior view on what looks to be like a deck where you could eat outside, and a view of the exterior of the building. It looks like this restaurant juts out into the water there, so that's an interesting experience. Here we have St. Regis's Grill and Bar. This is a very Art Deco looking style building in the interior as well. This was located in Washington, D.C. Again, a multi-view card with a view of the exterior and the interior. Next, we go to Crater's Pig and Whistle restaurant in Dallas, Texas. A view of the exterior and a view of the interior. Now we have Carl Parker's Market and Restaurant in the heart of South Norfolk, Virginia. Here again, multi-view card, exterior of the building, 3 different views of the inside. This looks to be the market area to the left. The center view looks like a dining area with tables and a counter there. And the view on the far right, again, looks like a dining room area. And lastly, we have the Green Derby restaurant in Jackson, Mississippi. Here, quite a large, attractive sign over here advertising steaks, Mexican dishes, barbecue chicken and ribs. Open 6 a.m. So again, very colorful and attractive card, as most of these cards are. One of the things that attracts me to restaurants, aside from the fact that it reminds me of food, which is good. And as always, please feel free to leave your comments. And if you have something that you collect, please share it with us. Tell me about it or send us some pictures. I'll be glad to share it with everybody watching. Oh my goodness. It looks like my staff has fallen asleep again. I'm going to have to go deal with this. Okay, that's it for today. Please give me a like if you've enjoyed this video and subscribe if you haven't done that already. And we'll see you next time.